except that there's white wine there, and that the book is on sale at a discounted price of £10 a copy. I just want to say a couple of words before I pass over to Jonathan, who will speak, and then Tim will follow Jonathan, and there'll be some time for some Q&A at the end of all the talking. Just to say that it's one of the most important books, I think, that Earthscan's ever published, and to try and substantiate that a little bit. I'm sure most of the people here will know that the Stern Review report changed the terms of the debate about climate change from considerations about the cost of trying to mitigate and tackle climate change to the cost of failing to do so. But Stern, Gore, many other people who are very prominent and regarded as campaigners about climate change are still trying to tell us that we can have our cake and eat it too. We can tackle climate change successfully without making sacrifices. Tim's book, well, once they've read Tim's book, I think they will, not just for what it has to say about climate change, but by extension, all the other ecological boundaries that are threatened at the moment and progressively threatened, they will have, I would think, to revise their views. But more importantly, I think Tim's book is more fundamental and more fundamentally important than theirs, because he does nothing less than lay out, or at least perhaps more modestly begin to lay out, the terms of a new political economy. One that's not, as we're accustomed to, dependent on more and more standard of living, more material saturation in what's already a materially saturated society, at least in the affluent countries, and that distinction is a very important one to bear in mind. We're talking about the affluent sectors, at the very least, of the affluent countries. But not more, but better quality of life. In all sorts of ways that it's possible to begin actively and actually to envisage and to plan to realize. And that's, I think, an enormous step forward. I'm drying now. The only other thing I wanted to say is that may be the economics that he's proposing, but as I said, it's political economy. And I think it's yet to be shown how the terms that Tim is laying out can be, or are to be, introduced into political programs and policies. I think in the election that we're going to have here in this country in the next 7 months, there will be very little evidence of